From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now, the latest news.
Kylie Conway has the latest news. The top headlines. News you can use.
Please stand by.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, October 13th. It was a cool and nice start to our Wednesday, but it's going to warm up to rise into the mid-70s. Also could see some rain, isolated development all throughout the day. And police are sorting out what happened ahead of a grim scene. 3 bodies were found on the south side of Indianapolis. Authorities are working to figure out how they died. An off-duty veteran officer was doing a routine check of the property and found 2 people dead under suspicious circumstances. The officer called for additional officers from IMPD Southwest District. Then a 3rd person was found dead during further investigation. According to the department, it happened at a home on Meridian Street near Hannah Avenue. Investigators aren't sure how long the 3 victims have been dead before they were found. Officers who were there explained that there are some challenges in investigating the area.
And so you've seen us bring in our ATVs, of course. And so, as you can imagine, with a rural area or wooded area next to an interstate, it makes the investigation that much more tough for our investigators.
IMPD is not yet sharing any information about the victims or a potential suspect, but they are calling this a homicide investigation. They're asking if you saw anything or know anything to call the homicide unit at 317-327-3475. You can also call anonymously at 317-262-TIPS. IMPD says these make the 215th homicide this year. And 2 people are dead after overnight shootings. One happened in an apartment complex on the north side near 79th and Township Line Road. Police tell us officers found the victim wounded and the person died at the hospital. We're working to find out who the victim was and what led up to the shooting. The other shooting happened in a neighborhood just south of Crown Hill Cemetery. Officers we spoke to at the scene said they found the victim shot to death in an alley near 31st and Boulevard Place. The officers tell us the victim is male, but nothing about his age or name. The United States will fully open its land borders for the first time in more than a year and a half. The pandemic shut down non-essential travel to Canada and Mexico. The borders should reopen next month for things like vacations and seeing friends. However, all foreign travelers entering the United States must be vaccinated. That also includes the essential travelers like truck drivers who cross into our northern or southern borders. We will know later today which day in November this takes effect. Right now, air travelers into our country must be vaccinated and have a negative COVID test. Land travelers will not be tested as long as they're vaccinated. Americans going to Canada also need a vaccine starting October 30th per Canadian rules. Health officials say they hope changes like this will offer more encouragement for fence sitters to get the vaccine.
The reason why we're going to get through this and the reason why we're going to accelerate our way through this pandemic to an endemic phase with this virus is because of the vaccine.
And OSHA is signing off on vaccine rules in the workplace. We just learned overnight that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration added a rule that employers are required to give workers paid time off to get vaccinated. If they don't, they could face a fine. President Biden needs OSHA's review for his business vaccine mandate to take effect. That was for businesses with more than 100 employees. He also needs the Office of Management and Budget to review it. That's happening next. Right now, about a quarter of the eligible U.S. population remains unvaccinated. And the rate of people getting booster shots is now outpacing the rate of people getting their first doses. To put a number on those with at least one shot, that's more than 217 million people, according to the CDC. And there's a move to free up the country's supply chain. The White House says the Port of Los Angeles is set to stay open 24 hours, 7 days a week. The goal is to ease a bottleneck of container ships off the Southern California coast, leaving much-needed items stuck at sea. President Biden is scheduled to give a speech on the supply chain issues later this afternoon. And this morning, a bill to extend the nation's debt limit is on President Biden's desk. The House passed the bill along party lines last night, following the Senate's passage last week. The Treasury Department had warned lawmakers that the government would likely run out of money by October 18th unless Congress raised the debt ceiling. The short-term solution prevents the government from defaulting on its debts through early December. Former NFL coach John Gruden is out of Tampa Bay Buccaneers' Ring of Honor. That's according to the league. The move comes after a New York Times and Wall Street Journal report shared racist, misogynistic, and homophobic language in emails sent by Gruden before 2018. Gruden resigned from his position as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this week. He released a statement after that saying he never meant to hurt anyone. Gruden coached the Buccaneers from 2002 to 2008. He was inducted into the Ring of Honor in 2017. And today, a real-life Star Trek for William Shatner. The actor, best known as Captain Kirk, is part of a 4-person crew scheduled to lift off this morning. It's set to happen in Texas at 10 this morning. Private space company Blue Origin says it'll be an 11-minute journey past the internationally recognized boundary of space. The flight was scheduled for Monday, but strong wind postponed it. The mission is called New Shepard 18. Crew member Glenn DeVries posted a picture last night saying that the team, dubbed the Snakebites, had graduated from training. The 4 are showing a fang sign in the picture. That's fitting for the nickname, of course. The crew is also taking some special deliveries to the skies. Each of them wrote a postcard. Shatner's reads, "This is the most important and practical concept for space use and for aiding and saving planet Earth." In an interview ahead of the launch, he talked about his hopes for the trip.
I feel comfortable, but I'm also uncomfortable. I'll be very happy when we go up and we're in weightlessness and we know we're safe because everything else should be all right. And we have that moment of inspiration, which I feel will be there when we're looking into the vastness of the universe.
Shatner will also be setting a record today, becoming the oldest person in space at 90 years old, topping Wally Funk, who was 82 when she flew on a Blue Origin flight earlier this year. And also be sure to tune in for All Indiana tomorrow at 4 p.m. as Shatner will join the team live to talk about his trip. Also, the coroner who did the autopsy into the homicide of Gabby Petito is releasing some disturbing details. Reed Binion reports on the very latest.
The Teton County Coroner Office is filing the following verdict in the death of Gabrielle Lenora Petito. We hereby find the cause and manner of death to be the cause, death by strangulation, and manner is homicide.
Gabby Petito was strangled to death and was dead for 3 to 4 weeks before her body was found near a camping area in the Grand Teton National Park. That's according to an autopsy report from the Teton County Coroner in Wyoming.
Throttling means that that someone was strangled by human force. There was no mechanical force involved.
The coroner says law enforcement did take DNA samples from Petito's body.
In a situation like this, nothing is obvious. And so the cause of death required investigation.
Nearly a month after Petito's body was found, investigators searching for her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, still have not been able to find him. Following the release of the autopsy results, Laundrie's family released a statement through their attorney saying, quote, "Gabby Petito's death at such a young age is a tragedy." I'm Reed Binion reporting.
And today, a hybrid hiring event for Kroger. The grocery giant says it needs many more people heading into the holidays. There are virtual and in-person interviews from 2 to 5. You can register for either kind online. If you choose in-person, you get to choose a location. We have a link straight to the sign-ups on wishtv.com. Then click on this story in the As Seen on Wish TV section. And Americans are quitting their jobs at a record rate. The Labor Department's Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey, JOLT, shows 4.3 million people left their jobs in August. That's just shy of 3% of the workforce. It's the highest quit rate since the Department of Labor started calculating it more than 20 years ago. Food services, wholesale trade, and education are seeing the biggest drops. Found more than 10 million job openings at the end of August. That's fewer jobs available than the month before. American Airlines and Southwest Airlines are going against Texas Governor Greg Abbott's executive order. The order bans entities in the state from enforcing vaccine mandates on employees. The two airlines announced that they will still require all employees to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Instead, the companies say they plan to comply with President Biden's executive order that requires companies with 100 or more employees to either require vaccines or regular testing. The decision puts the two airlines in between decisions made by the state's governor and the federal government. New guidance on aspirin and heart problems is coming. An influential independent panel called the Preventative Service Task Force is set to release new recommendations. A draft version of the advice tells people who are 40 to 59 to consult with their doctor about whether to take low-dose aspirin to prevent heart attack and stroke. It's the first time the group has included people in their 40s in such guidance. The biggest news may be the new guidance for adults 60 and older. The panel says they should not start daily aspirin to ward off cardiovascular problems because it could do more harm than good. A seasonal theme for a pet adoption event. Indianapolis Animal Care Services holding a pumpkin patch. If you want a dog or cat, you can visit the shelter on South Harding Street from noon to 5 today. Adoptions are free and no appointment is necessary. There are more pumpkin patch events coming up. You can see them now on our website, wishtv.com. And finally, to business headlines. COVID-19 has been a financial boon or bust for workers, depending on their personal situations. Northwestern Mutual found the pandemic prompted 35% of Americans to change the age when they anticipate retiring. Those who put off their retirement date mostly said they plan to do so by 3 to 5 years. LG Electronics and General Motors have reached an agreement that will see the South Korean company shoulder most of the cost to recall every Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle built to date due to a battery manufacturing defect. GM announced the recall in August after discovering at least 10 vehicle fires were linked to the issue. The United Auto Workers appear close to going on strike at John Deere. The UAW rejected a contract offer from Deere & Company over the weekend that would have given at least 5% raises to staff that build John Deere tractors and other equipment. 10,000 workers at 14 plants across the United States are impacted. The Consumer Price Index is expected to remain hot in September and could run hot for months to come. Economists say the recent surge in energy prices is one of the components, along with rising rents, that makes it possible CPI could stay elevated. The CPI is what measures inflation. And the Food and Drug Administration said that companies making certain alcohol-based hand sanitizers under its previous relaxed guidance must stop making the products by the end of the year as there is no longer a shortage. The FDA had issued the temporary guidelines in March of 2020 to address tight supply conditions for sanitizers. The agency said companies that have been manufacturing the sanitizers under the temporary guidelines should stop making the products effective December 31st. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
The News 8 Daily 8 is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast.
The News 8 Daily 8 with Kylie Conway. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.